Hi, welcome to Everyday NLP Bites, Season 4, Episode 7. If you've not been watching or listening to earlier podcasts, my name is Florence Madden. I'm an NLP trainer and coach based in Cumbria in the north of England. I'm also the author of The Intention Impact Conundrum and the co-author of a book called Everyday NLP. Now, I'm absolutely thrilled to say that today you've got the full package because I'm accompanied by my co-author, Eleni Sarantinou, who is a coach and trainer in her own right and public speaker and so much more. So of all the people that I've spoken to, I probably know more about Eleni and what really appeals to her within NLP. But I'm going to ask her those questions anyway, which is, Eleni, what's the thing that's most significant to you or has been significant to you in NLP, and how have you been able to use that in your life and work? So it's over to you, Eleni.
Well, Florence, first of all, good morning. Lovely to see you. And thank you for doing this. It definitely is a huge addition to NLP and the NLP world. As I'm sure you know, because you know me, and I think you also feel the same, to just choose among all of the modules or all the techniques and tools and teachings of NLP, I'm just gonna go for one that actually we found out a lot about together when we followed Sue Knight's training in France over a decade ago. And that would be feedback, receiving and giving feedback, which was also and probably still is in the new edition, a very big chapter in Sue Knight's book, who has been our trainer for us to become trainers. So that would be it.
And just for those watching and listening, the next podcast is actually with Sue Knight, following on from this. So there's a lovely introduction to Sue as well.
Over to you, Sue, after this.
So, feedback. So tell me more about why that's been so significant to you and how you have been able to use that in your life and work.
Well, first of all, feedback is everywhere and anywhere. It is not something that it is only systematic or a performance evaluation once a year or something for a specific time of the day. We exchange feedback all the time. So in order to become much better in feedback, we need to have very good listening skills, and we can never really practice enough for that. It's an ongoing, it's a life journey skill that you hone every day. Feedback is essential in our relationships, and I've talked a lot about feedback. I'm sure with many different people, and I'm just gonna repeat some things because they make a very big part of my story, my family story, and what it did for us. So our kids are adopted. They were adopted when they were 2 and 3, and one of the things and actually we started our family while I was very much into the beginning of NLP or practicing NLP as a trainer. So I was full on in enthusiasm, and one of the first things we did was when they came and became a family, we had these feedback sessions every Sunday morning, accompanied with a lot of waffles and a lot of cookies and a lot of fun. And it was incredible how we had this Harry Potter big family book, and everybody would basically talk about what they did well and what they could do better. So yeah, there are many funny stories about this. So just because of these sessions, we were able at any moment to know what was important to anyone, because what you consider a triumph is where actually you put your energy in. You put your energy in for a reason. So when Victor was 2, basically it was all about cookies and how many cookies he ate, and my daughter, how many friends she made, like 20 a day, the supermarket, at the park, anywhere, any girl she saw. So that's where we knew what they were thinking about. And we, since then, and probably since then, more systematically, it was something we kept, me and my husband, as a part of our romantic date, as part of our parenting date, as part of our financial dates, in order to always keep in contact and say, what is important to you? How do you feel about this? How do you feel about moving this direction forward? It was constant feedback, systematic, every day or every other day. And that actually, what it accomplished was that we didn't have the rest of the 23 hours any things unsaid or boiling about things or wondering when is it a good time, because we made sure there was an ongoing feedback session once a week, 3 times a week, 4 times a week, depending.
Yeah, so you've turned feedback from something that's occasional, an event, and I suppose some people also have some very poor experiences of feedback where yours, and I'm kind of smiling at Victor and his cookies, for your children, you made that a positive experience right from the beginning and just part of how you are as a family.
You're absolutely right, Florence. And indeed, they have a very healthy relationship with feedback, because another big aspect of feedback I found out, I felt it, I guess we all feel it when we're young. You want your parents, you want your teachers, everybody around, your friends, to actually acknowledge what you do well, what you mean to them. And it's not just praise, throwing words like, you're amazing, you're great. It's just that what you did touched me in that way. The way you spoke made me think about such and such, and thank you for that.
Yeah.
How you treated the situation inspired me. So in that sense, it's feedback that people can beautifully accept, because you talk about your own experience, and it's really on energy verbs, not global like the verb be. But where my mind goes right now is that feedback made a huge difference also in me. I started giving much more authentic, much more systematic feedback to myself. What do I do well? What I could do better? Because at the end of the day, that's all it counts. It's all in our head. So I really worked a lot on self-feedback.
Yeah, I think you're aware that I'm a big fan of Nancy Klein, who's got nothing to do with the world of NLP, but writes very beautifully about feedback and about human brain. And she talks about the need for balance and recognizing that, you know, that both sides of the scales. And yeah, all of us have things, I guess, that we want to improve. But I think so many people, and I'm guessing a lot of people that are watching or listening to this, will find themselves being very self-critical at times, rather than what you're describing, which is really noticing not just what you need to do differently or better, but also recognizing what you do well. And I suppose that's the bit that enables you then to move on and gives you the confidence to move on, because you know what you need to change, but you also recognize what you do well.
Oh, thank you very much for that. It's a known fact. I mean, you see it in many books, you see it because, you know, you see it in many researches, that the way we have all been programmed, and we can generalize in that sense, especially coming from past generations, we didn't know all we know about the brain now.
Yeah.
There was a lot about looking for that one mistake to do better, and focus on that missing thing. And that's great. That's got us where we are now. At the same time, it has caused a lot of fascination with pain, drawing close to us a lot of disease, a lot of, you know, problems with money, relationship problems, an enormous amount of separation. Because what our body needs is also the balance, you beautifully said, and preferably, because there's so much beauty in us, it's not a 50-50 thing, it's the beauty always overrides anything that we need to fix and needs to be acknowledged and pointed out, just for mathematics sake. That, yeah, during the day I did this for you, I felt this for you, I did this for me, I do this well. And that's why one of these exercises that we both use very often, and I guess anyone in personal development, is to have people write about what they do well, and they get surprised. Oh my God, like when you give them a number of 100, oh my God, I can't even go past 7. While they're digging, they're amazed at how many things they do well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting you say that. And I think I know you do this as a trainer and as a coach, is getting people to, well, taking people's energy and their attention to what they do well, because it seems to go so easily to the critical thing, not just of other people, but probably even more so of themselves. And, similarly, I find people say, well, write down 10 things that you did well today. And initially people seem to struggle with that. So it's really nice to
stretch. Trainer, yeah, and that is a very profound experience every time, especially both of us with the participants, amazing people. It's a clear meta program that there's either a preference, just okay, I don't need to hear all the nice things, just give me what I need to improve, or somebody that literally has reached a stage of, can you just say something nice? I really would like to, my body needs it. Yeah. And it's always a trade-off, and many times I catch myself too, because it is for the benefit of the spirit, the soul, the heart, our mind and our nervous system, how it actually is made to function, that especially when people say, no, I don't need to hear the nice things, there's still an academic aspect to it. There is still an old-fashioned aspect to it. And I'm always inclined to say, well, then you don't want my feedback, because if I see beauty right now in you, you can't possibly tell me the feedback you need to hear according to your beliefs. Then give it to yourself. Right now, what I see is that you do this well and I want to share it. And you see how many times they feel very uncomfortable, like, oh, we're just wasting our time. And that just makes it so important to do.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm thinking about someone who was on a course with me some years ago, and a guy that had done extremely well in the organization that he was in. And one of the things that he wanted to work on was his self-esteem. So I thought, well, that's cool. It's not an unusual thing that someone should want to work on. I suppose his colleagues would have been surprised, because this was a guy who'd done extremely well. And when I came to introduce feedback, he said, well, no, I don't need to know that stuff that I do well. I just need to know the stuff I need to change. And there we had it. That was entirely where his focus was. So there was a direct correlation between his, well, lower self-esteem and the fact that all he saw as value and feedback was the stuff that was critical. I'm glad to say he changed his perspective on that. But
and this is so common in the corporate world.
Yeah.
When the same preferences also go home to a 10-year-old boy, to a 14-year-old girl that needs to hear what a nice fashion taste she has, and how she absolutely made progress in math or in physics, and how someone even 25 years old in any role, as a child or as a young adult or as someone new in the company, they need to know deep down that the person who actually gives them feedback because of their own role in their life knows these principles. And people know when somebody constantly tells you what you need to change, we know in a very deep level that there is no balance, that they're projecting many things on us, and it will be very hard to trust them.
Yeah, and if I can give you some feedback in the moment, obviously we've known each other a long time and written a book together, and you once said to me, how do you get to know your best friend? Write a book with them. But I think what I think really underlines your authenticity is just the way in which you've talked about feedback. You don't see it as being something separate. It is something that goes right through your family life, your friendships, and therefore when you present that in a course or in a work situation, you are so entirely authentic with it because you know the difference that it makes at whatever age somebody is and the difference that it makes to relationships.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, Eleni, people may be curious if they weren't already to find out more about you. So can you just tell us what your website is?
My website, okay, well, I have 5 or 6 websites. Those are 3 of them. I started, and it's in a way one of the 2 main ones, life-spheres, because it was always global for me, unity and inclusivity.com. And then you have the corporate one, which is business-spheres.com. And then you have the elenisarantinou.com. And then, of course, we have our book, my books, separately.
Yeah. Well, for those of you who are thinking, oh gosh, I didn't get a chance to write all that down, it'll be in the paragraph that accompanies this podcast in any case. And if all else fails, you can always contact Eleni through me in any case.
Thank you. And we have everything. We have live trainings, we have online trainings, we have certifications, we have small trainings. So we see you on the other side.
There's all sorts going on and really well worth having a look into. So it just remains for me to say thank you to you for watching or listening. Thank you to Eleni. And next week, I'm going to be in conversation with Sue Knight, whom Eleni mentioned earlier. That was how Eleni and I first met. We were doing trainer training with Sue. So Sue was there right at the beginning of our friendship and work and relationship. So thank you for watching or listening, and I hope you join me again next week. Bye for now.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.